Namaskar. I'm going to talk about fifth lesson, the fifth lesson overview. The name of the lesson is Chakra Shodhana. Shodhana means cleansing, purification. And chakra is a tantric concept, is a sort of subtle organ within the body. The chakra is, you cannot see it. If you open the body of a human being, you will not find any chakras. But the physical representation of the chakra is different plexi. The glands, the nerves. So somehow the chakra is a subtle layer of existence. It has something to do with the vital energy. The chakras are described as the vortexes of vital energy. But it is somehow connected with the physical existence. It controls the nerves, it controls the glands, the secretions of the glands. The mechanism how the chakra controls the physical body is yet to be discovered, I believe, by the researchers. But in our practice we can feel, of course, we can feel. Like, for example, when you feel angry, where do you feel it? You feel it here, in the navel area. When you are getting worried, where do you feel it? You feel here, in the chest area. Or when you feel love, you also feel here. So chakras control different emotions, and different emotions in yogic terms they are called vritti. Vritti is a sort of disturbance in the mind, a pattern of wave in the mind. So the stillness of the mind is disturbed by the vrittis, different patterns. And when we experience them, we feel it, we call it emotions. So anger is a vritti, love is a vritti, attachment is a vritti, irritation is a vritti. All those emotions are there. And those emotions, they can be expressed positively and negatively. For example, at the area of Swadhisthana chakra, the second chakra, there is a vritti of indifference. And negative expression is a total dullness regarding the spiritual matters. You are not interested at all. It's just like the spiritual world does not exist. It does not interest you at all. You don't feel any affinity, you don't feel any closeness with the spiritual realm. And when there is a positive expression of that vritti, under the influence of positive energy, then it is an indifference to the comforts. You feel yourself very much unattached, and you feel yourself happy in any kind of environment. So two expressions of the vritti can be there. According to the overall condition of the chakra, or another way to call it, mandala. Mandala is a sort of like a widest circle around the chakra, which is very much influenced by the chakra. So if the chakra is pure, then the entire mandala becomes pure, and all the emotional expressions, they become positive. And also the health of the body is ensured. So Chakra Shodhana is there to purify the body and mind. The principle is that you strike a certain very vital portion of the chakra with a very sublime idea. And chakra gets, under influence of that idea, it gets purified. And then it's like from the nucleus, this positivity spreads around and purifies body and mind. Purification. What is purification? we have to understand what is pollution, what is impurity. The impurity is, there are three forces: Tama, Raja, and Sattva. Out of these three gunas, three forces, we are conditioned by the force of nature, which is threefold. It consists of three different qualities. One quality is Tama, the quality of stagnancy. Another one is Raja, the quality of movement, mutation. And another one is Sattva, quality of sentience. It is about calmness, joy, beauty, intelligence, rationality. So depending on what, when our consciousness fall under influence of those three, which force is dominating, so we behave accordingly. Our body also, when the body is under influence of Sattva, it is very radiant and beautiful. The apogee physically of Sattva, of sentient force, it's like 25 to 40 years. People become very, very beautiful. They're radiant. And then, slowly, the tamasic force takes over, and then there is a decay. The human being decays. If we maintain a certain routine, a certain way of living, we eat, the way we think, then we can maintain our body under the influence of sentient force for a long time. And even we reach 80 years old, still we are very beautiful. So that kind of expression of beauty is Sattva. And then also the odor of the body, the smell. There is a bad smell when tamaguna predominates. Sharp smell, unpleasant smell. And when the sentient force is there, the body is, it has a pleasant odor. It has a pleasant scent. Especially with the saints, with the spiritual masters, like our spiritual master. That was one common experience with the disciple. They would like to go to his room and spend time with him, just like father and son. And in India they have this tradition that when the parents, they come back from the work, they feel very tired, so the children, they will give massage. So that gets projected, and the disciple will treat the guru as a father and would like to give massage. So after giving that kind of massage to the legs of the guru, then the disciple would come out, and other disciples would take his hands and smell. And there would be very beautiful scent coming out of the hands because of the contact with the body of the guru. So that kind of purity of the body is sattva, sattvaguna. So when do I know that my body has become sentient? Okay, you smell. If it smells like rose or smells like sandal, it means you have purified your body. Otherwise, if it smells like, oh, I need to go take a shower, then still purification needs to be done. So how do we purify? We purify by diet, by fasting, by taking bath regularly, by pure thoughts, by keeping clean the intestines, by, like Shanka Prakshalana, when we break the fast, we drink water with lemon and salt and cleanse the entire intestines. So all those kind of procedures, even pranayama, cleansing of the nadis, it all helps to purify the body. And then in the mind, the heaviness of the mind, the dogma of the mind, the rigid structure of the mind, inability to think differently is tamaguna. And then the restlessness of the mind when you just cannot stay at peace, that is rajaguna. And they represent different kinds of suffering. So people, they go through depression, they go through anxiety and worries and fears due to the effects of rajaguna and tamaguna of the mind. But when the sentient force is predominant in the mind, the feeling is like you are floating in the air and you just want to laugh. Because there is nothing. Your mind is just like become like a balloon. It flies. At the same time, you're able to take rational judgments and, be practical, but you feel so much lightness in your heart. And this lesson, this Chakra Shodhana lesson, it strikes, it kind of injects the germ of the sentient force, the germ of the sattvaguna, into the nucleus, in a very, very principal, very important nucleus within your body and mind structure. And from there on, that germ starts to grow and takes over the body and mind. And then you feel so light. Actually, this fifth lesson, when you practice it, the immediate effect is just, I remember one time I had some situation and it was extremely heavy and I became like incapable of doing meditation. I was not able to concentrate, and the situation was so heavy in my mind. It was really one of the difficult periods of my life. And I felt so much pain. And then what I did, I sat, and it's sort of mechanical lesson. You don't have to really focus so much. You have to focus a bit, but not so much. It's kind of easy to do. And then, so I sat and I just did maybe 1 hour. I was just doing and doing and doing. After 1 hour, I felt that as if all that heavy burden on my shoulders was completely lifted. And I just feel full of joy and I feel confident. I see the light in the future. Like before that I couldn't, it was all dark. So that is the transformation in the mind. You just suddenly see that everything in a positive, in a beautiful color. And similarly the body transforms. When you practice the fifth lesson, there will be a change of the smell, there will be change of the odor of the body. And the body starts to emit, maybe not as a guru, that kind of sandal or rose, but it emits kind of pleasant odor. You feel good with yourself. We do not use any deodorant. We don't actually also shave the armpits, because the hair is considered to be as a vital organ of our body, which regulates the functions of the lymphatic system. And then you notice immediately, like if you have been in your own thoughts, if some heavy thoughts were haunting the mind, you immediately feel by your smell. you can feel, oh, I'm not thinking properly. And then when we are very, very, very relaxed and very in a very good ideation, your body becomes very pleasant also. It is a good way, because people try to suppress the expressions of the body. They try to make it artificial. Everything is actually fake. Everything is false. Today is what you see is not what it is. It is all false in many cases. But yogi tries to maintain as it is, and then become beautiful not by artificial means, but from inside. From inside. Your beauty is the sattvaguna, is the sentience, is the purity of your body, the health of your body, and the purity of your soul, purity of your mind. When you achieve that kind of state, you become very, very pleasant. It's just like you're a piece of art. You're a beautiful thing. So fifth lesson helps very much in that. And then when the mind is pure, when the force dominating the mind is sentient, so there is a peace in the mind. There is a peaceful flow in the mind. You are able to see it for a long time in contemplation. And you're able to sit and patiently build up. You know, like Buddhist monks, they build different mandalas, grain by grain. They build a beautiful, beautiful picture. And after they build it, they just sweep it with the broom. So that kind of, you sit in your meditation and grain by grain, you build a beautiful ideation. That's what you need to do in the final lesson of meditation. But to have that kind of enjoyment of peace, to be able to sit so patiently and to be able to enjoy that moment of peace and not being restless about it and not being heavy and sleeping, but just grain by grain, building up your ideation, being there in peace. So to attain that state, the fifth lesson, Chakra Shodhana, is very, very vital. It's very, very important. And need to do it many, many circles of that, many, many cycles of that, to bring that body into the state of divinity. Yeah, I hope those who have the fifth lesson, they will get inspired by this presentation, and those who don't, one day they will get this lesson from their acharya, qualified teacher of meditation, and they will practice and they will get these benefits. I have felt many benefits from the fifth lesson. It is surely a very powerful practice, and at the same time it is very simple. When you begin, it's sort of difficult, but when you teach your mind, you calibrate your mind, you position it properly, when you develop that kind of skill, then it becomes quite easy. So it will require you half a year to master, and then for the rest of your life it will be a great asset for your spirituality. Yeah, thank you very much. Namaskar.